Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad you can join us tonight for some invite action this season of ESEA. We've got season 25 with Faint Gaming, the upset of EVL versus Legalize Ranch, a returning invite team. This is going to be a great battle to see between a team that's a contender for the top four versus a team that's at least had some technical invite experience in the past. We've got Marxist and myself. I am Ro on the casting side, and we got Dr.Shdwpuppet with his quad-core, quad-monitor, epic, hardcore, super setup for the stream producing.
Yeah, hopefully you haven't jinxed him now, but I think it should be a pretty okay night. On the bright side, if you're a usual viewer, we have most of the players in the server already, so unless there's a hang-up, we should have video juegos for you almost immediately. But Ro, do you want to take a team and go down the roster real quick since it's early yet?
Sure thing, because I have no idea what the horrible aliases on Legalize Ranch are. I'm just going to go with Faint Gaming. We got May the Medic, Campy the Demo, Goldfish and Ranga the Soldiers, and Phelps Sandblast the Scouts. And I just realized, actually, it's Faint Gaming that has the bad aliases. All sides have the bad aliases. We got Crack Baby Dumpster currently in the server. I don't know what to make of that.
On the other side, Legalize Ranch, aka the Borks. You have Bear on Medic, Jarrett on Demo, Kryptonite and Marmaloo are your soldiers, and Shamu and Sam are your scouts. So far, both these teams, they're not undefeated by any stretch of the imagination so far, but they're showing pretty good signs of life so far this season, and they're mainly duking it out for that upper mid-tier of invite so far this season, and that is a pretty competitive zone this season, Rose, so there's gonna be blood.
Exactly, because right now, if you've been living under a rock and don't know the standings right now, currently leading the invite leaderboard, I'm just doing this from memory, we've got No Mercy undefeated as far as I know. Second place is either Faint Gaming, I think it's Faint Gaming.
EVL's technically in second.
You know, technically all the three teams I'm about to name are technically in second. Freya-Tech, EVL, and Faint Gaming are all in second place currently by every stretch of the means. They all have one loss, and we're gonna be coming full circle tomorrow with No Mercy versus Freya-Tech. So we'll see who's gonna be on top after that. That's where it's gonna be really interesting. But yeah, for the most part, it's not even just a struggle for third or fourth place right now. It's just there's a clear set of teams in the top percentage of invite, aka the top four teams. And if you want to get in, you've got to tussle with basically the best, because everyone in the top four has basically beaten everyone in the top four, at least except for No Mercy, who are currently undefeated.
Yep, so it is a pretty hot season so far. I think I cursed us because they are slow now about getting into the server. But these two teams, what we've got going here, if you want Rose, if you remember Rose's analysis of the standings, Faint Gaming stands at 3-1 right now, and Legalize Ranch is at 1-2. So they're on the more struggledy end of things here, but they have shown a lot of good stuff so far this season, and I know they were kind of tossed together there at the end, and they had a lot of roster shakeups even through that, and so maybe it takes them a little bit of time to gel. And also we had a relatively new map in Sunshine, so everybody couldn't just go on autopilot.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to play on a map that's it's been around for a while, of course, but it's still one of those things where it's not as solid as much. There's not a foundation of what's right and what's wrong as far as something like Snakewater, which has also been around for ages, but it's been much more carefully scrutinized for what makes it good, what to do right. The mid-fights especially have been a very popular thing for Snakewater that's got going for it. Right now, it's basically in Legalize Ranch's court to say whether or not they want to fight for that top four spot, because Faint Gaming have showed a lot of strength, but we've still got a full half of a season left coming up, so it shouldn't be too difficult for someone to dethrone someone in the top 4 and steal the spot away in playoffs as it approaches.
Yep, and you never know what's going to happen. A player might break an arm or something, and then everything will get shook up, which has happened before in TF2 history, so you never really know. Legalize Ranch has a lot to play for here, because if they end up going 1-3, then the light begins to dim for them, barring some sort of act of God, as it were. So hopefully we see a good game out of them. They've got great players, so... And I know Marmadog, aka Marmaloo, is a very popular player, but from what I've seen so far this season out of him, he's greatly improved. So there's that going for him as well.
Actually a very comforting thing to hear, because I already thought he was a pretty fantastic player to watch in the previous season. So hearing you say that he may have improved even more than what he was at just warms my heart, and I'm looking forward to see the "Oh my dog" spam in chat.
Yes, solid spam. And we do have the so far as I know, this is the real Goldfish is playing. So,
Yes, this is.
Because if you weren't here last season, we had a great deal of trouble sleuthing out whether it was the real Goldfish or not. And it turned out that it was not. We had been fooled by a clever disguise. So I think almost everybody's in now. We got 6 and 5. There's one holdout yet, getting some gamer fuel to get ready for this game here. Snakewater is a pretty cool map. As I recall, Legalize Ranch had pretty strong showings on the more fluid maps. Let's check my facts really quick here.
No opinions whatsoever.
Yeah. In my fact-checking mission, yes, indeed. They performed... they had 2 5-2s against EVL and No Mercy. And if you recall those, Ro, they were the 5-2 varieties that went into halftime, like 2-1, 3-2, and then disaster struck.
That it did. You have all 6 and 6. Yeah, it's gonna be. I kind of missed the point of what you said. I heard you say EVL and No Mercy and something struck, and all those words got jumbled in my mind, and I completely forgot and did not register what point you were getting at.
The first half of those games was really close, and then Legalize Ranch kind of fell apart.
Roger.
So
they failed the halftime recovery.
Yeah, the halftime rule got them, and that happens sometimes. Mainly, I would argue that because we typically scrim in half-hour segments, that if you do end up playing a full half-hour halftime, a lot of the time people aren't used to putting themselves back in playing serious match mode after that halftime break.
Yeah, it's a definite momentum shift in terms of that. Like, if you just happen to get like maybe 3 rounds, or maybe like a long game happens, you just won 2 rounds in a row to make it 3-2 and take the first half. That halftime really kind of cuts things off and gives the other team a chance to think about how to change their style to make their changes in a way that morphs to what you've been doing, and that doesn't give you an opportunity to morph to what they do to counter that, because you have to see what they do first, and then it comes up to the moment where you have to make those decisions in the moment rather than with some scrutiny and knowing what to do with a tactical pause, which, believe it or not, we've seen 2 tactical pauses on our streams, our casts this season. They weren't normal. Let me, I've disconnected. Let me reconnect. No, there have been actual tactical pauses in ESEA this season, and it's very bizarre.
I'm pleased to see it. That's a lot of the time a good pause like that. I still distinctly recall playing with Rikachu. We were in a game, I can't remember who we were playing, but we had a pause, and it was because one of the players on my team's computer had been destroyed. And I remember distinctly Rikachu typing in, "Can't you feel your momentum draining away?" Because we were losing presently, and then they reconnected, and after the pause, we won that game.
There you have it. Momentum kills games. Or rather, not having momentum kills games. And with that, we are finally able to go live. No more of this nonsense that we're going to be spewing out of our mouths to pad the runtime. It's time to go live. We've got Legalize Ranch versus Faint Gaming. I'm excited to see what's going on in this first mid. Goldfish going to be taking the pocket rollout. Rangachu, not Rangachu, what? Ranga, aka Thor, in the server. He's also going to be just doing the roamer thing. Let's see. We do see Jarrett right away getting there very early. Going to spot out Campy on the right side. Now going to be waiting for the heals, though, because he's taking a few too many stickies. And now he's going to have to wait for initiation from Goldfish, who comes in right onto Jarrett. Follows it up right away onto Bear and takes him down. Ranga also following up on the Jarrett. That is a medic and demo down, but it's not going to be enough because the rest of Faint Gaming are crumbling at the same time. It's looking really good, though. Ranga picking up 2 more in the back lines. It is the runaway kid. It's Sam, as that awkward alias, and Marmadog, who's also making a little bit of a play over here on the side. Might be able to catch out Phelps, who's capping the point. Here comes Marmadog, waiting things out. Gonna wait for a pack and then initiate any moment now. Happy Cool looking in the wrong places, and Marmadog jumping at the wrong times. He finally gets caught out, and is now gonna be starting to shoot. But initiation from Mr. Sam coming onto the point, gonna be doing some good damage onto Phelps. Takes him down with the little 2-chip shot. And it's going to be a follow wraparound from Marmadog, who's also going to be keeping Ranga out of the picture right now. And also initiating into Saw, but there's no one in Saw. It's just going to keep Campy out. And Ranga's going to make the decision to back up. What a weird mid for Legalize Ranch to take it out. Sam with the clutch, though.
Yeah, because everybody had to run for health packs there, and they couldn't really put much time on the point. And there was a Marmadog distraction. They ended up just having a refight at mid that ended really quickly. Now we're watching a slow push of second, a bomb, kind of a faux bomb there over the top. Now a big one, a real bomb comes in. Huge damage onto the demo, but it's not going to be enough. No soldiers now for Legalize Ranch, but the Uber comes out. And now we're got a little exchange here on the point. No Happy Cool on the one side, med under threat. Shamu and Jared are basically gonna die to try to get their med out of here, and I think that is Bear gonna make it out safe and sound, but they're not gonna have mid anymore.
No, they're not, and Goldfish is also keeping up the pressure. The forward spawns have come in, though, so both soldiers are alive for Legalized Ranch, and it might be enough to spam with the Saw. They know they have a 2-player advantage, so Faint Gaming wants to take this in right away, but Ranga's kind of disconnected, playing from the flank. They're trying to catch out Sam there, and actually all the respawns have returned to the front line, so it looks like it's going to even things out. Bear had not much of an advantage because, thankfully, May was using the crossbow to build up that Uber advantage. But it's not going to be enough to push on. It would be a miracle to get the Uber and then use it right away to get to the medic. Looks like both sides are going to be just about even, and we're going to be looking at a stalemate situation until some initiation, potentially from Ranga.
Yep, we're in that situation where it calls for the tag bomb. And that's still the most popular way to sort of deal with things here, at least in North America. If you happen to be a European viewer, might look a little different over there. There's an attempted bomb. It's not gonna work. And that was just all kinds of sad zone for Ranga there. There is a counter sack. It's pretty big there, but it's going to plant a bomb onto May. But not enough to actually kill or scare May all that much.
Oh, but it's a fallout from Goldfish, who came in through the window and dropped the medic Bear! Oh, that was incredible. I missed the initiation, but I saw him in midair and rotated over to the location, and what an incredible 2 fat rockets. Absolutely insane. I agree with the drop there. Like, that was one of those things where Goldfish should have died, and he did die, but he got 1 rocket off just before he died. And that's all you need. Right now, it's going to be some initiation from Faint Gaming. They're taking this pretty much uncontested. Nobody's even looking at them. We do see, finally, Marmadog going a fat wraparound, trying to get the shot, but a great serve from May is going to keep that alive. And now it's just desperate spam from the soldiers, and Jarrett not going to be able to connect there. And now the Uber is ready to rock and roll from lower. Walk us through it, Marxist.
They're coming in now through lower, using the scout for the speed boost. Gonna hold the Uber on him to block the sentry gun, because it only shoots who's closest. There are quite a number of sickies on the point, though. They can't get to it. No scouts now. Big mistake there to lose both scouts that way, and they're not going to be able to do anything here. May die! No, gonna get saved by the wall with 17 health, running away now. There are hunters coming, gonna grab that health back and try to make it out. No! The sloping ground victimizes May there. Took a little too long to escape. And that's gonna put all the momentum back down onto Legalize Ranch. Because now they've got Uber here, no medics, so they might be able to just get through this without popping.
Fortunately, that was not a miracle arrow to save the life of May. And now Legalize Ranch taking down Ranga early on, going to be also cutting off Goldfish's escape route potentially. He manages to take the rocket and surf it inside and pick up Marmadog and escape with his life. What are you doing? Oh, what a big mistake. Legalize Ranch leaving their player out to dry, not able to stay with it. Bear low on health, kind of having a halfway point between trying to commit, and Kryptonite's going to be overextended trying to create some room while the rest of the team is just slowly creeping onto the point. They're going to get it now, but they do have the Uber, and I don't think May knows this. And they're getting all these kills, though, and the Uber gets forced off, thankfully, from Goldfish, who did a lot of damage there. Also managed to pick up Jarrett, so that force is going to be a huge factor in what Bank Gaming is going to put on the rest of this round.
Yeah, that was a crumble there. I think is the only word to describe what's happening, and they're making it worse. And it's now going to get a lot worse. So we sacked 2 players there for a completely hopeless situation. They do manage to pick up Goldfish, but now the Uber is upon them. And all the stickies, actually Jarrett's going to save the day. The stickies are going to bounce the scout out of the zone, but there is an attempted back gap, and it looks to be working. There it goes. Now they just have to run. Win a 1v1 and run. Well, no. They're going to try and fight the whole team there. So they all die. No going back. But that will stop the catastrophe for the time being.
Legalize Ranch pulling a hat trick there from Sam, who was able to get that back cap, and now Shamu sitting on the shack, not going to be able to commit to this. Jarrett actually might get caught out here potentially, but thankfully the soldiers weren't rushing at the speed of light, trying to catch him out with some rockets, and now it's just going to be kind of a giving up of the midpoint, a big disadvantage, but look out because Sam still has a trick up his sleeve.
Yep, going on to Sniper. Had really good games on Process as Sniper. And there's going to be Goldfish going down right to start it. So, pretty good setup so far. They are going to end up having to force off. You don't want to approach that Sniper. They go in really deep there. Does Ranga almost gets a kill, but fails to do so. And now there's no splash damage out here. So we should see a pretty much immediate repush. Yep, there it goes. Will anyone get caught out? No, it looks like they're all going to escape. Very nice. Making the best of a bad situation. And now Bear's got full Uber and Sam wisely switching back to Scout.
Now it looks like the ball's in the other court as we do see some initiation from Shamu getting spammed so hard. Gonna be taking the buff. Now they're trying to decide their new location to push. They're definitely gonna have enough time to get in here and potentially catch out May as they're gonna be initiating things, but May is slowly creeping up on that Uber. And the sticky traps do get detonated, so now Faint Gaming have nothing to stop this mid from being capped, but they will be getting their Uber in time to defend second. And once again, going to be up to the midpoint soldier to initiate, but this time Faint Gaming is on the defensive instead of the mid.
Yeah, Faint did a really good job there of just making things take a while. Wow, Skybox traveling for the soldier. That was Marmadog, really creative bomb there. Partially assisted by blue team's rockets, but it doesn't look like we're going to see a counter sack. They're actually going to do, yeah, there it is, Goldfish coming around the horn, but not going to get anything meaningful done, and that will be maybe a pause, but we don't know. We already saw a drop from Bear off of a distraction play. Kryptonite's going to try to get in here, going in cheese, flying around every which way is on the med, but doesn't actually do any damage to May.
0 damage whatsoever. Kryptonite, buddy, come on. That's gonna be a very big deal because now they can actually just push straight up. They don't have to worry about worrying about the spam because there's less spam, but they are gonna be initiated right away. Marmadog getting a nice little rocket there, trying to force them out, but they popped a little early. Goldfish could be rotating out through the window, and that Uber just kind of came in, forced the Uber, and left. Very, very, very mellow Uber.
Yeah, well, the problem there is Faint knew that their Uber was significantly worse. and due to the earliness that they popped it, and they didn't want to play the game of getting caught by a whole bunch of Uber players once you're just kind of standing there, not invincible anymore. So now they're playing the Boston Basher build game to try to get this Uber quickly, and then they might try a little feint push with an E and try and do something off of that. And nope, it looks like they're gonna just chill instead. Well, there was a little scout action in Saw, but nope, no goes. So we're back to where we were, and we'll watch the rounds of suicides.
Oh, dang it. I thought Marmadog was just about to clear out the way to make his push. He doesn't quite have enough health to initiate and doesn't have an opportunity to get a buff here and actually gets spammed out.
Row.
What?
Sam is on spy. That is
no, but
well, and there's
in.
Marmadog going too. Maybe it's just to convince them that that was the plan.
Yeah, this actually kind of works out, except Bear is
Sam is on Dead Ringer as well.
Yeah, Sam is disguised as finally a friendly scout. He was disguised as an enemy spy. He gets killed, but doesn't do anything. It's just gonna give them the impression that they're dead. And now they're gonna be pushing, but the respawn from Marmadog is actually already back. Or no, he's still all the way in forward spawn. Marmadog's AFK. Oh, because he's trying to let Sam switch off. That was an interesting Dead Ringer play as the Uber exchange is happening over here, and wow, what a great rocket from Kryptonite, juggling Goldfish straight into the air and stuffing him right away. Tunnestick is in Saw, but that's not going to be a problem because the rest of the team of Borks are walking in through the grass and are now initiating onto the point. The Sam and Marmadog respawns are finally in, and they were playing practically 4 versus 6 here, but that's going to be their downfall because Shamu and Jared have already died, and there's going to be a lot of initiation. What a good bomb, but it's not going to be enough. Kryptonite gets taken down, and a great pipe from Campy, going to take down Marmadog. Just Sam from the respawn.
Yeah, Kryptonite and Marmadog were just not involved in that play. That's one of those situations where just because the flank is open doesn't mean you have to go through the flank. It would have been a lot better if they had just followed in behind with Jarrett instead of trying to go all the way around, because by the time those soldiers got out of Saw, their whole team was dead. Except for the med. The soul saving grace.
By class, and he's going to be working his way towards getting a pick. But a big pick will be pretty tough because they're watching Maze back pretty carefully, and both soldiers are actually getting really close here. Rangus going to be taking a buff, but gets juggled at a perfect time and almost gets caught out entirely, hitting himself on the doorway. And actually some initiation from Kryptonite. He feels like he could have gotten that. But all this distraction has been enough for Shamu to come in. He's almost there, but Sandblast snuffs him out, calls it out, and his teammates turn around, shoot feet, get kill, and Sandblast cleans it up.
Yep, as every Highlander spy main will tell you, beelining at the medic is a sure way to get killed. So maybe a little too obvious there for players of this experience. The Uber is going to come in the meantime, though, and never being popped is a Bear. But unfortunately, they're going to lose Jarrett there for the milkaroonie that was going on there. And their team gets stratified, and now they're getting blown away by a team with almost no health.
Kryptonite getting a nice shot, and also Sam winning a 1v1 versus Phelps. It's low health on both sides. Kryptonite waiting for the respawn on the health pack, and May getting a little bit of pressure there because it's up to Campy to defend. Sam is going to think better of initiating, and it's going to back off. Kryptonite trying to decide where he wants to be, and all the respawns are now just filing into place at second. May still has a huge advantage.
I'm confused because that may be the first time in my entire life that I saw a scout give up a 1v1 versus a solo demo. I mean, yeah, he had his medic there, but like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, haven't you watched someone like Beaver and just 1v6 an entire team on Snakewater Middle? It's just like that. But it's Shamu with the immediate snipe and a follow-up headshot to do some great damage. Going to be forcing off May, flashing wildly, and actually Campy gets taken down. Finally, Marmadog gets taken down. It's a great play from Shamu to set things off and to follow up damage from Marmadog. Kryptonite also going to be following suit very shortly. Almost connects a rocket onto Renga, who is now going to be backing off on the point. It's looking like a repush with full Uber from Bear. They're getting ready to go right away, and Kryptonite jumping forward, meets up with Ranga, might be able to catch him, but no, he manages to get away. Kryptonite also keeping up the forward momentum, practically leading the push with no help, and finally the rest of the players are filing in line. Shamu now going to be working his way through this. Let's follow him right now as he takes it over to the cheese area. He does see the demo spam and is going to be calling it out for his teammates, but there's no presence at all from Bank Gaming. They're going to be giving this up entirely, and now the point is theirs. They're looking like they want to commit to it. Shamu's calling for it. He's desperate for it, and actually it's a follow-up play from Phelps, who's coming behind the point right now, and he gets called out. Goldfish, who actually initiated onto the point, going to be forcing the Uber off now on to Bank Gaming, who are now desperate to chase this out because Bear failed whatever happened earlier, and it's Jared. Sticky trap dropped. Bear.
Yep, it was a sticky trap. That was pretty much as well orchestrated as it could be, because you've got the trap down over on the second point, essentially, and they've waited to come out so that people generally aren't going to pay that much attention, because they're looking at the other team that's all the way down range, and then they came out, and so nobody checked behind them, and they died in a sticky trap. And that's the story of that Uber and why this push is going to come through. But Goldfish Sandblast going to go down response by killing the soldiers over on the other side, but may have to end up using this Uber here just to cap second, because there is a ton of pressure on them. And they're one player down relative. So they're not letting this go without a fight, and they're still out here. Things are getting now more dangerous as Campy goes down, and they're going to have to run away. So a very nice call from the Borks there to just kind of stand their ground. They may not be able to recap, though, because this Uber is going to try to prevent it. And they're all over them, but the exchange comes out now, but nobody is at last, and it is open. Sandblast is making his way through, and I don't think anyone's in position to stop him. Yep, there we go. Nice call on Sandblast. If the team comes out and does not have second and pops Uber, just go to last. You'll probably win the round.
I was absolutely amazed at the slaughter we were witnessing on the point. Fink Gaming sacking everything they had on the point, but it worked out because Sandblast was in the back end going for the back cap. Incredible work. I thought it was going to be Legalize Ranch's turning point, but it looks like it's not going to be there. It's going to have to be here, because right now it looks like Thor, aka Ranga, is going to be getting in, while Mardog is secretly behind, getting ready to initiate. Right now, Borks getting the better of it. Definitely going to be holding onto this mid for a little bit here. And Sandblast might get stuffed here. Takes a little bit of a rocket follow-up as well. So low. Can anyone clean him up? No, it's not going to be enough, but actually it's Phelps rushing in, trying to get onto the medic, but it's not going to be enough because Jared hits a great pipe, and now Campy is very low on health. Going to get met by a clean rocket from Mardog, and Sandblast, who just got the health pack. Only a midi pack. Just barely going to get away with his life. Going to dodge an arrow intentionally, too, twice.
Yeah, that was one of the more creative soldier initiations I've seen on Snakewater Mid in a while. So that was really cool. If you're looking to add something to your repertoire, look at those two soldiers there in Kryptonite and Marmaduke. That was some good stuff. But now they've got to take on an engineer, a heavy, and a 7th player. So they do have full Uber, though. In they go. The 7th player isn't going to last long, Ro.
No, it's not, and now it looks like even Phelps isn't going to stay alive for much longer. If they can coordinate the spam, they can take this, but they might just lose everything because Sandblast is coming in. Goldfish gets taken out by a nice arrow, and the heals are coming in from the arrows. Going to help, but it's not going to be enough because Renga jumps in, gets some great damage onto the demo, and also picks up Bear. At the same time, it's just a scout left alive, and he gets taken down by Campy's great pipe. That was all Renga saving the round there, getting so much damage and taking out those key players to closing off that fight. The soldiers weren't anywhere around to deal with it. And that's going to be it. Legalize Ranch lose the last push and have a disadvantage. Looks like Fink Gaming is potentially going to be taking this midpoint and even the round if they can get something good with this Uber.
Yeah, you either want to destroy them with this Uber. Whoa, that pipe is going to really prevent it, though. And now it's going to be basically a wasted Uber. There is a fight going on behind. Soldiers are chasing each other around. Into the skybox goes Marmaduke, does not manage to land on the platform and thus dies to fall damage. So in the end, that's just a sack, and it got the Uber, so good enough. And we'll probably watch another period of relaxation here because Bear's going to be the one with advantage, and they may try to go with it.
but it is looking like it's siphoning, or I don't know what we're looking for here. Looks like the gap is closing very shortly, and now it's going to be about 8 seconds before they can kill Mei, and the Uber is ready. Right now they're looking to take the high ground, but it's not going to be enough. The spam is going to be enough to potentially take the point, but Mei has the Uber now, and it looks like just a nice, friendly little push. We're just going to walk in and take a happy little point.
Yeah, the Feint Gaming really showed their cards there, where the push came in, and they just left. They did not want to take the risk, but in comes a bomb. There is all sorts of flying Mei there, and is not going to drop or pop, just survive.
Mei showing an incredible skill in surfing recently, all throughout the season, and Goldfish is going to get juggled. Good little milk there, but not going to be doing a lot here because now the Uber counter has been pushed off and Goldfish is at a very low amount of health, but isn't even being looked at practically. It's just Sam who's keeping an eye on things, and a follow-up from Mardog going to be able to connect that rocket very cleanly. And now with that player advantage, it looks like they're going to be taking things through the lower grass area. Going to be initiating now, and it's up to Ranga to cause some havoc here, or he's going to play a little bit more defensively. It's hard to say because actually there's a lot of spam coming in, and it looks like it's going to be a greater initiation from Legalize Ranch, but a great pipe from Campy. That's down Kryptonite. And Sam also goes down. Sandblast walking forward now, going to be chasing things down. But like, going to be waiting things off, taking the heals, and now the spam is coming in from Marmadog, getting a lot of damage onto Sandblast, who's waiting for the arrow. The heals come in, and now it's looking like a desperate attempt to get away, but Jarrett might get caught out here. The laser pistols are coming in. He does manage to get away, but Goldfish is the one getting it onto poor Bear. Bear is not going to be killed. Nice little surf there, going to keep him alive. And now Mei with full Uber, not going to be able to, you know, push on it because they have a player down, and the Uber is now on both sides.
Yeah, that may be another meta situation, because so far this game, if the Borks have had trouble doing anything, it's been pushing second. And so they essentially baited them into pushing second, and they failed again. So I don't know if that's a meta, you know, genius IQ player, or they had something else in mind and Goldfish just wanted to do a solo Uber because maybe Goldfish likes that kind of business. So we're back at this stalemate though, and we'll see what they do. So far we've had a lot of neat looking bombs, not very effective except for in one case, but at least cool looking.
That's all that matters in Invite is style, not success.
Yeah, style points definitely count for something. Ranga does have a really fat buff right now, but I guess it wasn't fat enough. So he's not gonna do anything right now. There he goes, he's on the move now. Gonna show his hand though, so not gonna bomb.
Shamu also keeping an eye on things. He does not want him to come through that window. He's taunting him, just taking a little chip shot whenever he picks his head out. Goldfish is going to be taking a little bit of a distraction here as Ranga is now deciding how he's going to approach because it's all eyes on him practically. Yep, finally, he does have the buff, and here it comes. He hasn't tipped his hand, but he misses the wall. Finally makes the jump, and actually a great connection. Can he follow it up? One last rocket. It's so close. Bear going to be able to stay alive there, surviving 2 whole rockets from Ranga, and now it looks like it's going to be a counter push here. The health pack keeps him alive. Now they're going to be pushing very shortly.
Yeah, Bear, not caring at all, was willing to drop that Uber, and it pays off in that scenario because otherwise we wouldn't have this second stalemate anymore. The time is probably becoming a factor. I'd say we're down under 10 minutes for sure, and you may, being the losing team, just prefer not to have anything go wrong here. Yeah, you're at 7.5 minutes left is what the clock man says, so it's almost perfectly synced up. But Ranga is going to go down again here. The counter sack goes in and is going to get Sandblast, so that should open up the can of worms, as it were, and they should be pushing soon.
Kryptonite now walking his way through it. He does spot out Phelps, who's causing a little bit of havoc. They're going to be walking in, trying to milk as much Uber as possible. Disconnecting Goldfish very nicely, and Mei is going to have to finally pop it, connecting back. Flashing the players, hoping to get them in through that stickies, and Phelps very desperately going to... Please, Jarrett. Where's your instinct to blind it? You could have gotten a great kill there, but it's not going to happen. And now with that desperate push and force and not really causing anything, looks like it's just a hard reset with no Ubers. Just kind of building them back up now.
Yeah, a major problem for the Borks so far tonight is that it does not look like their Uber versus Uber post-fights are very well planned out. And like that one there, everybody just kind of spilled out. You've got to have somebody make some sort of space, and either they just thought they couldn't and so they left, or nobody really had a plan and then everybody was back up.
The wise words of Anonymous: goal without a plan is just a dream.
Well done, sir. And yeah, so basically we're just gonna chill here until somebody can break this, and it's not gonna be the Borks because they don't want to lose this round.
Yeah, but now it's initiation right off the bat. Oh, what a great air shot from Jarrett there. Great jump from Ranga, able to connect in onto the players, but it wasn't enough to make anything happen. Marmadog countersacks right away. Or, sorry, yeah, Marmadog countersacks and gets caught out very easily, and it's looking like it's just the Snake Water Curse. Someone needs to embody the life of tag, or do a full push through the garage, or the lower grass area right after that. Sandblast's gonna get taken out, but from nice spam from Jarrett, who's kind of ready to initiate here, and Kryptonite's gonna get taken down though. So it's a desperate play from Shamu, getting all up in the face, gonna get two-shot very easily by Phelps, and now Jarrett taking up a little bit of the heals, gonna try and help. But now it's an Uber versus Uber situation with just scouts, and Jarrett is disconnected. Gonna get a nice little surf there in the lobby, staying alive, but it's actually Sam who's chasing down Goldfish, takes him down. It's gonna be initiating against Phelps and Campy, who has a nice little sticky angle there to spam it out. Nice pipe, gonna connect on to Phelps, and now it's a reconnect from Sandblast, who's coming back to the front line, taking another pipe, and Jarrett is just popping them one at a time here. I am the pharmacist, and here are my pills. And no, he's going to get taken down finally. Not going to be able to fill out that prescription.
Yeah, this was actually supposed to be an easy fight for the Borks, but they screwed the pooch on this one. And they're not going to be able to hold this out. They're going to lose this round now. So the deal is, for the science, is that because the Feint was taking so long capping second, they got all their respawns back, but then they were way too tentative for the push, and it ended up not being anything. They just lost, and now we are going to get to see an Uber. Thor gets blown away, and so now we're going to see an Uber versus Uber here.
Marmadog underneath, he jumps! Disconnects entirely, completely shut down, barely had time to land. Raiders to his death as a result, and now it's not looking like it's any good here because with no time practically left in this clock, like Feint Gaming might be able to take this round, potentially another round as well, because it's 1-0 with a little bit less than 3 or 4 minutes left.
Yep. Well, to be honest, in this scenario, it may be a situation where you'd want to park the bus until about 45 seconds are left. Or just continually run suicides and never push until you can get a pop. Because right now both teams are having some trouble. And you don't want to have a failed last push result in the other team rolling you all the way back to your own last and capping right before halftime clicks through.
Legendary team known as Team Cooler Master way back in the day pulled this off on Goalie Wash, and that's why you should never give up when there's about a minute or so left on the clock. You can go last to last very quickly, and you'll be getting the Uber just in time when you get there too. So this is definitely one of those spots where one sack is okay, but with a sentry now coming up from Mr. Sam, looking like it's going to be a little bit harder to initiate here, as we do see the spy play from Sandblast. Going to be the perfect opportunity to initiate here, as he's definitely going to catch up the engineer if he decides to go for it, but a medic might be a juicier target.
Yeah, when the NG had the equipment on his back, that probably would have been juicy enough for me. But it was just a level 1 sentry, so not enough style points there.
What are you doing, Sandblast?
For
Have a perfect back. Oh, finally he does initiate, but he gets caught out. If he did that just a little bit sooner, he had all players looking away, and the sentry would have just gotten him right at the end of it, but it would have been a perfect exchange. Bear was not even like paying attention whatsoever. Nobody was paying attention. It would have been a perfect decloak if he did it like 10 seconds sooner.
Yep. Unfortunately, a lot of people say Spy is a patience game, Ro, but in that case, too much patience on the part of Sandblast.
It's all about opportunity, not patience. And opportunity came and went.
But now we're going to play Sniper.
But opportunity is calling back now because Sandblast is on the Machina, the reskin of the Machina rather, and that's going to be a nice fat body shot. Going to do about 176 damage, knocking out that buff very quickly. And Goldfish wants to initiate, but he can't after that fully charged shot. And now Sandblast is looking up top, trying to catch on to Marmardog. Marmardog is getting desperate to keep him out. It could be a disaster. Oh, it's so much damage on the Kryptonite too. I don't know which side to look for. It's so much initiation from all sides. Finally, Shamu gets taken down, but Marmardog and Kryptonite are going to be picking up Sandblast and Happy Cool, but they force off their Uber at the same time. And now it's looking very bad because they can't do anything. They used their Uber and couldn't even get onto the gun, which is looking like it's going to be very comfortable going into this next push. Campy's trying to spam it around the corner, but it's not going to be working. And now Kryptonite going to be ready to push any second now, keeping an eye on the spam, hitting some nice shots. And Marmardog picks up Thor, so that's going to be a rally call to try and push out, but it's going to be a very desperate thing to do because if they lose their last point, it's all over, and it's going to be a 2-0. Legalize Ranch have to find an opportunity here. They pop their Uber right away. Kryptonite walking in. No, it's out of time. Nothing's going to happen.
Yep, so that is a 1-0 first half. So just in case you've not seen a lot of Snakewater in your life, this is highly unusual.
I wouldn't say unusual as much as I would say last is pretty hard to push.
It's very unusual to see a 1-0 first half. I mean, it has happened in the past that we've had super tight Snakewater games, but this one in particular kind of stands out to me because they're not necessarily playing slowly. We've had maybe 2 longish or excessively long stalemates. But for the most part, it's just teams, they've got a clear situation to push, and then, mom's spaghetti on their sweater, and they end up on their own last, and then we fail to push last, and they get back out again.
That's precisely what happened. A lot of second pushes failing was the biggest thing. It wasn't even the last, so I can't even commit to that notion that Snakewater last is a very difficult thing to push. We were rarely on last. I think that was probably the second or third time we've been on a last entire map so far. But we really need to talk about stats because this is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Half the players on every team are in the single-digit deaths, and naturally the soldiers have a lot of deaths.
Yeah, a lot. Well, in the Bork's case, it's because Kryptonite and Marmaloo have been having communication troubles with their team. And I don't know if that's like a by design thing, that they just want them to be really extended, or if it's a timing problem where they assume everyone is much closer to the enemy than they end up being. And then Ranga and Goldfish is basically just the sacks.
Also looking at these fat damage stats from Kryptonite, doing a very good job of putting out the damage, and that's definitely something you want to have on your team, but not a lot of follow-up. As you can see, the damage from Marmardog and Jared is not that substantial. Meanwhile, Campy's holding on to a reasonable damage number as well as Goldfish the Pocket. Like, these stats are fairly even, except for the fact that Jarrett's not performing at the best he could. His damage is not speaking like a demo man.
Yeah, although contrary to other games, all is right in the world because Sam is bottom damaging.
All is right with the world. Damage numbers, as you can see, are very even. Despite Jarrett not keeping up the numbers he needs to, but that's being made up on Kryptonite's side. Very, very close numbers, 34k apiece, and the frags are also practically even. That one backcat that basically set the pace for the whole first half.
Indeed, it did. But I was watching people ready up there, and I got really excited, Ro, but then it ended up not being enough. So we've still got a couple people AFK here. So, as further reference, I always say this in a half. when we have a really slow first half, we're going to have a really, really fast second half. So if you're thinking, maybe I should go to bed, I don't have another, 30 minutes of TF2 in me. Trust me, there's a greater than 80% chance there's going to be like 10 to 15 minutes of TF2 as soon as they go live.
I would agree with that, but the fact remains they have to at least get 4 rounds in a row for this to be a quick half. That is Faint Gaming currently leading 1-0 at this halftime. If they're going to make it a quick game, it's going to be 4 rounds in a row, and using up all the time without getting at least 2 rounds apiece, or at least on one side, it's going to be a little bit harder to make it that quick. But hopefully they work out the kinks, figure out where the problems are, and we could see a little bit more back and forth action, whereas some team manages to make it to last and then win last rather than fail to push second for the 5th time in a row.
Yep, the perpetual inability to get things together for last and second pushes. So we'll see. It should be back together because it looks like some folks are talking. Campy and Jarrett are both just kind of standing there. Bear is as well. So I imagine if you're someone to talk and complain about the state of affairs, those would probably be the ones doing it. Particularly Jarrett, because he, one of the big reasons Jarrett's damage is so low is that Campy has basically removed him from every middle. And,
exactly.
That's a huge problem. And then on the back of that, as well, is Marmadog and Kryptonite have been causing a ton of chaos on the other end there. And so it's harder. He's already hurt and moved backwards, and then their soldiers are just going in super deep. And so it's what he's seeing in front of him is a lot of really spread out targets.
That being said, we're now going to be going live into this match. We do see Jarrett getting to mid a lot faster, but still barely not even touching Campy, taking a little bit of damage himself. So much follow-up damage on Jarrett. Gets an arrow, and the follow-up bomb from Fang Goldfish is going to be able to connect onto that, and the cleanup from Sam going to do that. But Bear gets taken down by Marenga, and it's looking really bad for Legalize Ranch as all their players are crumbling to the extensive force that we see Faint Gaming displaying tonight. But Sam pulling a nice little strat here, but Phelps sees it, misses his first shot, and
loses the 1v1. Bro, what am I seeing in my video game? Is he gonna win another 1v1?
Yes, 100%, because Goldfish is not ready for this. He sees him, and now Renga is also winning a piece of it, but Sam has no fear. What an incredible play back on the midpoint, or the second point rather. Cat time is almost going off, and there is currently an Uber still ready for May to pop at any moment now, but with Sam causing so much havoc currently, the 2 players being down, it's going to be just a little bit of initiation. And great drop from Marmadog, who connects 1 rocket, and a point-blank rocket is going to seal the deal because May thought potentially there could be a surf, or maybe the player was far enough away, but no, when they're right in your face, it's over. And Sam is still keeping it up. He kills Sandblast.
Yep, so when a team has a player behind, you have to make a decision to either completely ignore them, and that puts you at risk that if you have people respawning that they're going to get camped, or you all go back and kill them. And they chose just ignore, but they had way too many people respawning at once for that to be an effective strategy, and they ended up losing people to it. Happy Cool is going to die inside the lobby there, and that's going to give them some opportunity to scoot out, as it were. And they are coming all the way, have the big positioning on the shack. There's a flank play going down as well, but someone is running to last because they are smart. It is Sandblast again. No, he loses the 1v1 to Shamu. Would have had the round there again.
I think Sam should have been the one to go for the back half there because he's clearly the one that's in top of his form with a 5 kill streak going into this first half. He finally does go down and is now on the respawn. And now Faint Gaming looks like they're going to be the pressure up, because with so much time on the cap, it's going to be really easy to just kind of peek their way in potentially and catch someone out and then just sack people onto the point, draw them in, and then coordinate their spam, as we do see initiation coming now. Feint Gaming, Sandblast getting onto the point right away. The Uber is a big part of this push, and now they're getting onto the point, but a desperate bomb from Marmadog is going to get in there, and that's going to be the cap somehow.
Yeah, it was. There was almost no way they could hold that out, Uber versus no Uber, because the point had like maybe half a second of cap left to it. So that's super hard, much harder than a normal hold. So now we are at 2-0, and that round was lightning fast.
Very fast, and it looks like a good pace for Feint Gaming to keep things going, but Marmadog is going to be going into the kitchen, potentially reinitiating here. Kryptonite, unfortunately, bombs at a bad time, gets caught out, but Renga going to get taken down. A 1-for-1 exchange for the soldiers, and Marmadog manages to catch out a nice little friend there, hence with some good damage. Is now going to be rotating over, going to get met with Sandblast here, who could potentially get the kill. One more shot. Marmadog, please! Still alive somehow. Sandblast, no! What is happening? Okay, Marmadog is hiding, that's why. I was watching it through the wall hacks that I have installed for STV, and I had no idea what was going on. I could only see their models.
You mean you have cheats?
I have cheats. Confirmed.
So we've already got a Sam sniper coming out here. Has gotten some frags, but nothing super massive. Make a frag video out of it big. But there is a scout peeking. So this is a good strat here, because the standard hold is to just have a scout troll on top of that wooden walkway so no one can use the window. And sniper can seem pretty easy from that position without a lot of danger. Now we've gone to straight up 2009 TF2 because both teams are running a sniper here.
You see Sandblast holding the saw room area and might potentially get a shot here on the Kryptonite. Oh, but he picks Shamu instead. Takes him down with an easy shot there. Shamu, you gotta learn better than that. You can't be beached on top of that plank wood. You gotta be, active, flopping around or doing something.
Swimming to your destination is your best bet. And did not work out. And I was gonna try to make a Free Willy joke, but then I realized that a large proportion of our audience may not know who Free Willy is. So I let it go. And now we're just back to this sniper duel.
Looking very good because both sides have shown a little bit of strength here. Sam hitting a nice headshot onto someone on the pipe. And of course, Mr. Sandblast grabbing a nice little pick onto Shamu earlier. We do see Marmadog keeping a little bit of spam on the pressure from the lower grass area, just trying to find a chance maybe to get Sam to find an opportunity here. The sightline here is completely strewed because that giant fence is blocking things. A bomb from Goldfish, not going to be able to catch it out though because Sam was rotating out just in time. Not going to be taken down, but Sandblast is also rotated to a very sneaky position. It's going to potentially catch out Marmadog, who might not even know if there's a sniper sightline there. Gonna be so close, Sam! Oh, misses the shot. Sam gonna get a nice little 1v1 on Sandblast there, but he's getting so much spam. A tiny chip shot from Phelps gonna take it down, and that's gonna be all they need to get initiation here. Sandblast needs to find where he wants to snipe from, and the rest of the team have to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, this is the tragedy now, because, well, there's actually gonna be an Uber exchange in Saw, and they are going around the horn. Goldfish finds a target to shoot. Unfortunately, due to gunboats, cannot fire additional shots, but it doesn't matter. He's going to manage to get 2 kills. Now 3 is going to come down, 4 will go, and unfortunately no soldiers left for Feint Gaming. And there is a player behind, that is Marmadog. Marmadog might go for that long flank play, and that looks like that's the case. Sam's going to get sniped out. And that will be a big one, but here comes the quick bomb. Maybe Abel is still way far behind, even. There he goes. He's finally making an impact, and he's going back in. He had the escape and said, nah, never mind.
But this is actually really good because now he's got both the soldiers kind of distracted, delaying them just a little bit, and potentially he could find a way, but no, Sandblast spots him out, takes a little shot there, but does not connect, and Phelps is desperately pleading for Marmadog to slow things down. He says, stop!
Yeah, Marmadog kind of chasing his own tail there. And I think they're going to go ahead and Uber because there's not a there's a player missing here. But Sandblast is going to die straight away to Kryptonite. So that's nice there. They're trying to put pressure on the point now. Gets quite a bit there, but their scout gets super hurt. Goldfish dies straight away as well, and it's falling apart for Faint Gaming. But Sandblast is going to go for the back cap.
Oh,
We're going to have an
please.
attempted spy back cap here.
I would have been so pleased.
I
if,
honestly think he's too slow. He's not going to make
definitely.
it.
100% too slow. No one he almost gets hit. But he is going to be in a great opportunity to drop the Uber very shortly from Bear, but Bear decides to go to Saw instead. So now Sandblast has to decide how quickly he wants to does decloak, and I don't know if Marmadog heard it, but he can potentially get a pick here, and that could be the difference between winning and losing this, because right now he's currently useless, but he is going to be rotating onto the medic. He's completely unspotted. He does take him down, and finally they take him down, but no, it's too late. Bear is dead. Marmadog is dead as well. Sandblast getting a one. Whoever I bumped. Sandblast calling it out, saying he had been called out. He could have been picked. Oh, they were completely blind to his efforts, and now full Uber advantage. Legalize Ranch are not looking good here.
Yeah, Sandblast used some Jedi mind tricks there, because clearly they just didn't notice all of the spy signs were there right under their noses, and they just ignored it. They were so ready to push. The tunnel vision was incredibly strong. Marmadog tries to respond ineffectually. Now we see another Uber come in here, but there's a level 2 7th player over here. It's going to get teleported out. There's tons of pressure on the point, and there we go. So that's going to take us to 3-0, Ro.
Oh, poor Marmadog. Couldn't find an opportunity to get in. He could have potentially made a play there, but he got spotted out, bumped, unfortunately, and Faint Gaming know what to do when you bump into a spy. They don't say, huh, let's just keep doing this push and hope our medic doesn't drop. No, they know to check for the spy. Campy right now going to be looking at Jarrett once again, getting the better of him at the mid-fights, always connecting those stickies very early on, and a follow-up bomb from Goldfish is going to keep pressure on. Rango with the cleanup kill, though. Going to be picking up 2 for 1 there. Bear and Jarrett going down simultaneously. He's going to get taken out by Shamu, who's now going to be looking to initiate with his teammate Sam, who's coming in from the left side. Shamu on the right, but it's looking like a great initiation because so much pressure onto May, so much health down. But Shamu managed to sneak behind. I don't know if a player saw him, though. May able to get a pack there, going to be rotating over, grabbing a mini as well. Shamu now looking to find an opportunity here, potentially to initiate onto the point, but he's going to be waiting things out very carefully and methodically, because May is nowhere to be found on the midpoint even.
Yep, May is already on second. Coming on across. What do we got from Marmadog?
We got the drop on the May with a fully charged Machina shot. That's all you need from Marmadog. He had enough. He was like, if I can't make it as a spy, I'll try sniper. Maybe it'll work, you know?
Yep, and it definitely did there. Second save the bacon of the Borks. And now they're kind of running around here. They're going to get Sandblast as well. So, this whoa, there's a back cap though. And it's Happy Cool, and he's gonna taunt, just walked right through, nobody covered lower. That's an elementary mistake, Crow, and now it's 4-0.
I take it back, Marxist. I have eaten my words. You have proven me wrong. Just because it was a long half and there was only 1 round earned does not mean it can't be a fast second half, because it looks like Faint Gaming are in full gear right now. No fear whatsoever. We do see Ranga taking over the kitchen area. Going to be meeting up with Sam very shortly as he's trying to get a health pack, and it looks like the health is disastrous for Legalize Ranch, but Marmadog going to be trying to connect out 2 great rockets onto May. If anyone can follow up, it's going to be all they need to take out May, and the pressure is enough just to keep it back. They actually might even be able to take this point, but no, Sandblast's going to take down Sam right away, and now it's looking desperate for Shamu or Kryptonite to initiate here. Jared also low on health. The health is desperate for Legalize Ranch, but a great pipe is going to take down Sandblast and keep this to a 3v3. Practically even now. Great sticky spam, though, and Jarrett finally getting the better of this mid-fight. Going to be able to win this for his round, and they're going to be able to push forward, potentially taking second if they can find a way in.
Yeah, well, Sam is headed over to Spy as well. No, okay. I thought we were going to go full pants on head, but we did not. It was just a forward spawn, and I got really excited about it. So here we are. We're at a true stalemate now. Faint Gaming has no reason to do anything because they are in a super lead here. And We'll see what the response is, because the Borks, they've got to get 4 rounds in a very limited amount of time. The Suicide comes in, is going to put good damage onto players. So this is what confuses me, is when the Roamer bombs in, it puts so much damage on people, but no one else does anything. Like, you could push there because presently May is just running around arrowing people. And it's like the perfect opening. Everyone's standing in a big circle. The med doesn't have the proper gun out. It would be perfect, but instead they just do nothing.
They're trying to bring about the spirit of Tagarung. Hopefully and willfully cause a drop from a single soldier, but you gotta pray a little bit harder if you want to do what Tag does.
Yeah, I've heard if you solo bomb the Roamer 3 times in a row, Tagarung asks to join your team.
And we do see once again Sandblast coming in, but I think Sam, I don't know if he was just spamming or what, but Sandblast almost got caught out there, and now he's managed to sneak his way in, but it's going to be very hard to initiate here. Marmardog gets taken down, and that's going to be all the initiation they need, because a little bit of a distraction might be enough for Sandblast. He is calling it out, and that could be enough for the team to know what to do here, because with an entire identification of the location of the enemy team, could be enough to know that all of lower is free, and you can pincer.
And Sandblast is on a deep espionage mission right now. He actually is trying to spawn camp because the soldier, he's seen that Marmadog and Kryptonite both love to go as fast as possible out of spawn, and that they have like 30 health when they get to that health pack. So here goes Sandblast again, trying to get frags, but he was heard. And again, they were all bunched up there, but no progress on the push.
Wow, what a desperate bomb from Marmardog there, but a great play from the scouts, completely shutting him out of the sky there. He was airborne for quite some time, and his strafe was not his own. The scout decided where he was strafing, thanks to that knockback from the scattergun. Great defensive play from the scout. Happy cool, because Sandblast was obviously on spy. Good job, Mr. Phelps.
And now we've got the Marmadog spy. Gonna try a different play. Actually, Sandblast apparently going back to spy as well. So we've got a replay of the Hard Blue spy versus spy game. No, Sandblast ruins it and goes sniper.
But Marmadog keeps to the faith, and he's gonna hold on to things. Gonna find an opportunity here from lower, potentially to get onto the medic. But with Sandblast trying to peek some shots, get some angs, he does have Saw pretty much locked down, and Kryptonite's playing a dangerous game right now. But Marmadog is not too far from getting initiation, and there it is, Kryptonite playing the dangerous game and losing to Sandblast. But that's exactly what Marmadog needs to potentially take this, because right now, he's an unknown spy. Going for... nope, just going to be going for the sniper as the initiation is happening on the midpoint. The Ubers did just fade now. Not much happening from it, but Ranga getting the better of the post-Uber. And now Marmadog going to be able to connect onto a player on midpoint. But no, he gets caught up by Phelps. Gets taken down right away. So unfortunately, Feint Gaming is showing their strength here. And it's a desperate surf from Bear, who gets taken down by a perfect rocket from Ranga's posthumous rocket. Oh my goodness, what a great play from Ranga.
Kryptonite gets the door slammed shut by Campy. Campy's aim is really good, in case you haven't noticed. And here they go with a full Uber advantage. Sandblast does get wiped out by Marmadog, and they're playing the dangerous game here because there could have been a sniper, but there isn't. It's just heavy. He's gonna get taken down in short order. And here we go, pressure on the point to win the game. Gonna pick up the frag though is Kryptonite to save the team so far, but the fight is still devolving rather, and not devolving. But at the end of the day, the Borks are gonna hold steady. They ended up not getting forced out of their position, so they were always able to shoot at the point. And it's hard to cap when the enemy team shoots at your point.
Yeah, that's some sage wisdom from a seasoned Marxist there.
Indeed.
Ranga coming in through cheese though. Gonna try and connect onto the medic. Great, 2 rockets. Gonna take down Bear right away. And that's gonna be it. All she wrote. The Uber is ready for May. They have the second point. They force a little early thanks to some initiation from Shamu, who's actually chasing behind and could potentially get a 2-shot onto the heels. But it's all that they need to get onto the point now. It's actually Marmadog getting some good damage, but but it's going to be it. Goldfish going to finish off the cap, and that's going to be the game. Great stuff from Renga right there, initiating. If it wasn't for Renga jumping in from Cheese, connecting 2 perfect rockets onto Bear, that would have been a much longer round, and that's going to be it. 5-0. You said it, Marxist. A quick second half, and I was not expecting that.
Yep, that's the way of TF2, bro. It's just it's an axiom at this point. So let's check out those stats before we send it home, though, just so we can kind of do an autopsy here of this 5-0. It was a very long 5-0, though, 53 minutes.
Yeah, that's a very surprising thing to hear, is a 50-minute 5-0 roll. But it was not as much of a roll as you'd expect. There was a lot of back and forth, but Goldfish turning it up, honestly. Bringing out the fat damage, proving himself as a pocket right now because, wow, 15k out of that second half after whatever he had in the first half. Shamu and Sam kind of diminished in terms of the second half. Sam did an okay job on the frags, as we saw, but his damage was just not phenomenal, as you can see. 18 assists, that just speaks to how much damage he does.
A lot of frags getting stolen, but not a ton of damage coming out from the scouts, really, for either team. As far as I can tell, I mean, Sandblast is the king of damagers for scouts in this game, and he's only at 218, and that's more a symptom of just how slow the game was at points, because it's hard for a scout to buff their damage stats. But I think the real story here that we should take away is that Bear, he only died 13 times, which is really overall, I mean, that's not a great game by any stretch, but it's not a bad, like an awful game. However, he dropped 3 Ubers out of the 14 that he got. And
he also had twice as many deaths as May, and practically a third less Ubers.
Yeah, so part of the reason the Ubers are so much lower is that they were on the defensive a lot. And so the defensive medic is naturally going to have a lower Uber count because they're not popping Uber for, multiple Uber cycles of the other med. But the 3 Uber drops really hurt. I mean, 1 or 2 drops, that's
brush it off,
really unlucky. But 3 is there's a chronic problem with the team.
There were a lot of spy plays, so I would not discredit a spy getting a backstab. It's your team's fault if you die to it. Well, it's a little bit of both, but it's definitely more your team's fault.
It's 1,000% your team's fault if they bump into him and do
yeah,
nothing.
Exactly. But dropping to some silly things like May, most of May's drops were just really phenomenal bombs where May thought he could take 1 more rocket, but the rocket was exactly what it needed to be to get the drop, so fortunate there. But May showing a really good game overall. Like you said, with 6 deaths is very low. Campy with only 7 deaths, that says so much, especially with all his damage he does. Campy really proved himself as a top demo man tonight, I feel. Constantly winning the mid fights versus Jarrett. Kind of struggling to be at least par.
Indeed. Well, unless you have anything else you want to mention, Ro, I think we'll just send the folks home with a quick reminder that we will be back on tomorrow. Twice, actually. There will be double the TF2 tomorrow. So I will not be there because I will be at a meeting trying desperately not to be put in charge of an orchestra. Don't ask me how the universe is conspired to make this happen, but I don't want to do it. So here we go. So Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern time, you've got Ro, who is here tonight, Van, and Dr.Shdwpuppet will be bringing you Froyo Tech versus No Mercy, which is sure to be a barn burner of a game, and that will be on Snakewater, of course. And then at the same time, in case you want either some TF2 to watch after the Froyotech No Mercy. Or if something catastrophic happens in that game, you've got Fable Esports versus Lunatic Esports. So two new orgs there, and you'll be casted by Sandblast, who you saw play tonight, and Corn Pop with Azazel on production. So plenty of TF2 to watch tomorrow.
Very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for that plug and letting us know what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Peace out.